All right, so it is January 29, 2026. And look, if you work in tech, or honestly, if you just try to organize your life with a computer, you know that pressure,
Oh, yeah.
that constant hum,
Yeah.
the one telling you to optimize everything. Code faster, write faster, don't miss out on this whole local AI revolution.
It's the optimization trap. I mean,
Right.
we all fall for it. You want the superpower, and you want it right now,
Right. And usually the cost is just what, a subscription fee?
usually.
Usually. But yesterday, that impulse cost a lot of people something way more valuable. We are looking at just a massive security incident involving a tool called Moltbot.
Which people might know better by its old name, ClawdBot. It's a big one.
It's huge. And the really tricky thing here, the thing we need to unpack, is that it's not just one story. It's like two separate nightmares colliding.
At the exact same time.
Exactly. So on one hand, you have a classic supply chain attack, a fake extension on a really trusted marketplace. But then on the other hand, you have this slow-dawning horror that the real software, the one everyone loves, might be full of holes itself.
It's a perfect pincer movement.
Mhm.
So you get hit if you're careless and you install the wrong thing, but you might also get hit if you're using the legitimate tool exactly the way it was designed.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We are going to unpack how hackers are weaponizing our own sort of convenience seeking. We're going to look at why localhost doesn't mean safe anymore. And we're going to define a term that, I gotta say, it genuinely gave me the creeps when I read it: cognitive context theft.
That last one.
Ah.
That's the game changer. It really shifts the whole conversation from, they stole my password to something much scarier,
They stole my train of thought.
infinitely worse.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The bait. Moltbot. Before we started, I was looking this up. It's a huge open source project, right? Something like 85,000 stars on GitHub.
It's incredibly popular. And, for good reason. The promise of Moltbot is privacy, it's control. It lets you run large language models on your own machine.
Locally.
Locally. So you're not sending your secret company code or, your personal diary entries out to some big corporate cloud. It all stays on your computer.
Which is the dream for anyone who cares about privacy.
It is.
Yeah.
And it integrates with everything: WhatsApp, Signal, Slack. It's like having your own private digital assistant that lives on your laptop and can talk to you anywhere.
I get it. I mean, that sounds amazing. I can see the appeal. But this is where the timeline starts to get a little messy. January 27, 2026, a user shows up on the Microsoft Visual Studio Code marketplace.
And for anyone who doesn't code, VS Code is, well, it's the text editor that basically runs the software world right now.
Yeah.
And its marketplace is like an app store. It's seen as a very high trust place.
Right. So this user, named ClawdBot, which looks totally official because of the old name uploads and extension, ClawdBot Agent AI Coding Assistant.
And it promises the one thing everyone wanted: to bridge that amazing local AI right into their code editor. It was the missing link.
So you have the AI on your machine, you have the code editor, you just want them to talk to each other.
Everyone wanted this. So when it appeared, people jumped on it.
So thousands of developers see it, they think, finally, and they just click install. What happens next?
Well, here's the kicker. The first thing you have to understand is that the legitimate Moltbot project, it doesn't have a VS Code extension.
Oh.
It literally doesn't exist.
So the demand was there, but the supply wasn't, and the hackers just filled the vacuum.
Precisely. They exploited that gap. And the moment you click install, that's it. The trap is sprung. This wasn't some passive extension. It was designed to auto-run the second you opened your editor.
And developers live inside their editors. So I open up VS Code to start my day. I'm thinking about my work and what's happening under the hood.
While you're typing your first line of code, the malware is already awake. It reaches out to a domain-clawdbot.getIntoPC.site. Danzel pulls down a config file, and then it executes a binary, a file called code.exe.
Code.exe. That's cheeky. That's the actual name of the VS Code program, isn't it?
It is. So they're hiding in plain sight. If you were to glance at your task manager, you'd just see code.exe running and think, oh yeah, that's just my editor. You wouldn't blink.
But this code.exe is not a text editor.
Not at all. It's a deployment tool for a piece of software called ConnectWise ScreenConnect.
Wait a minute, I know ScreenConnect. That's legitimate stuff. IT departments use that to fix your computer remotely, right?
They do. And that is exactly what makes this so clever and so dangerous. It's a technique we call living off the land. The attackers aren't using some weird unknown virus that your antivirus would flag immediately.
They're using a trusted, digitally signed remote admin tool. They're just...
Yeah, using it for evil.
Exactly.
It immediately connects to their server meeting.bulletmailer.net, dash, and boom. They have full remote access. They can see your screen, move your mouse, copy your files.
You install a little helper to write code faster, and you end up giving a complete stranger the keys to your entire digital life.
And it wasn't a smash and grab job either. The persistence here is what's really alarming. The analysis shows just how resilient this thing was. They had a plan B.
This is that DLL side-loading part.
Well,
I was reading about this. It sounds so complicated.
It's a classic spycraft technique just for the digital world. So let's say that maincode.exe fails for some reason. Maybe a firewall blocks it. The malware has a backup plan.
Okay.
It goes to Dropbox, another trusted source that's unlikely to be blocked, and it downloads a file called DWrite.dll.
DWrite? That sounds like a Windows font file or something.
That's what they want you to think. The real one is a system file for rendering text. But they drop this malicious fake version into the same folder as their program. When Windows tries to run their program, it looks in the local folder first, it finds this fake one, and it just loads it.
It's like switching the dictionary on someone's desk. They reach for the book they always use, but all the definitions have been changed.
That's a perfect analogy. And this particular DLL was written in Rust.
Why does that matter? Is Rust just like a trendy language?
It is trendy, but here it's tactical. Rust makes the malware really stable so it won't crash your computer and tip you off that something's wrong. But more importantly, it's much harder for security tools to reverse engineer and figure out what it's doing. It buys the attackers time.
And there was even a plan C.
There was. They had hard-coded URLs pointing to another domain, darkgptprivate.com. They built in layers of redundancy. This tells you this was not some kid in a basement. This was a professional job.
Okay, so that's the fake extension. And the lesson there is pretty clear. Verify the publisher. Don't just trust a familiar name. But we have to pivot now. Because even if I was smart, even if I avoided that fake extension, and I only used the real Moltbot, I could still be totally exposed.
And this, to me, is the part that is so much more frightening. Because the fake extension is just a scam. But the vulnerability in the real software, that's an architectural failure.
Right. So we're looking at research from Jamison O'Reilly here. He found hundreds of these Moltbot setups just sitting wide open on the internet. How does that even happen? I thought the whole point was that this is a local tool.
It is. It's designed to be local, and that's actually the root of the problem. You see, the developers wanted a frictionless experience.
Okay.
So Moltbot is set up by default to automatically approve any connection that it thinks is coming from localhost, from the same machine.
Which makes sense. If I'm on my laptop talking to the AI on my laptop, I shouldn't have to enter a password every 5 minutes.
In theory, that's fine, but that's not how people work in 2026. They want to access their powerful desktop AI from their tablet at a coffee shop or from their phone. So what do? They set up a reverse proxy.
Okay, explain that for the non-engineers. What does a reverse proxy do?
Think of it like a bouncer at a club.
Right.
You tell the bouncer, hey, anyone who comes to this specific website address, just forward them straight to me inside the club.
Got it.
The problem is, when that traffic gets forwarded, Moltbot doesn't see the person coming from the coffee shop. It looks at the traffic and says, oh, this request is coming from the bouncer. The bouncer is right here on the same server as me, so this must be a local connection.
Ah, so it strips away the fact that I'm actually halfway across the world. Moltbot just thinks I'm sitting at the keyboard?
Exactly. It trusts the bouncer, so it lets the stranger in. No password, no security checks, nothing.
So if I find your IP address online, I can just, browse your AI?
You can browse everything, the configuration data, all your API keys for OpenAI or Anthropic, but the really scary part, you can see the entire conversation history.
And that's where this cognitive context theft idea comes from. This isn't just stealing a password, it's stealing the process of your work.
Think about what you put into a local AI. I mean, you're not just asking it trivia. You're pasting in snippets of secret company code and asking, can you find the bug in this? You're drafting that difficult email to your boss. You're maybe venting about a merger that hasn't been announced.
It's a stream of consciousness. It's my internal monologue, but digitized.
It is. And traditional malware is transactional. It wants your bank password to steal your money. Cognitive context theft is about stealing the why and the how of your life and your work.
The context.
Yes. If I have your chat history, I don't just know what your password is.
Yeah.
I know who you trust at your company. I know which projects you're stressed about. I know the internal acronyms you use. I know your writing style.
Which makes a phishing attack 1,000 times more effective. If I get an email from you and it references the exact bug you were just trying to fix with your AI, using your own terminology, I'm going to click that one.
100%.
Yeah.
You would even think twice. And remember that point O'Reilly made about agency.
Right. The real problem is that ClawdBot agents have agency.
Exactly. These tools aren't just passive search engines anymore. Moltbot connects to your Slack. It connects to your Telegram. If I compromise your Moltbot instance, I can send messages as you.
So while I'm asleep, my compromised AI could be messaging my boss on Slack, sending them a malicious file, or maybe even approving a fraudulent payment.
And because the AI has all the right credentials to the system, it is you. It's perfect impersonation running on autopilot.
And this is a supply chain issue, too. Benjamin Marr from Intruder pointed this out. Because Moltbot has its own app store, right? Molthub.
Formerly CloudHub, yeah. It lets you download skills, which are like plugins. But again, in the name of this zero-friction world,
There's not much vetting.
very little.
Yeah.
And Marr's point was that there's no sandboxing. So if I create a malicious skill that claims to, say, help you write better SQL, and you install it
It could just be quietly siphoning off all my data in the background.
indefinitely.
Hmm.
And because the tool's whole job is to read and interact with your files, it's almost impossible to detect. It just looks like the AI is doing what it's supposed to do.
Let's go a bit deeper on this cognitive context thing. Token Security reported that 22% of its customers already have employees using this tool. So this isn't some niche hobbyist problem.
Not at all. This is a corporate crisis waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And 1Password, the password manager company, they weighed in with a detail that I found, frankly, just shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Moltbot stores its memories in plain text.
Okay, define memes in this context. We talk about AI memory, but what does that actually mean on a hard drive?
So for an AI to be useful over time, it needs to remember things about you. The user prefers Python. The user's working on Project Apollo. The user's dog's name is Max. It saves these little facts into a file so it can build context.
And that file is just sitting there, unencrypted.
Just a plain text file, readable by anyone who can open Notepad. So if an attacker gets onto your machine, maybe using that fake VS Code extension we started with, they don't need to be a brilliant cryptographer. They just need to copy a folder.
And that folder basically contains your digital brain.
It's the blueprint of your professional life. And this leads to the most sci-fi and also the most terrifying part of this whole analysis.
Memory poisoning.
Memory poisoning.
This sounded like something straight out of a movie. But this is real.
It is very real, because if I have access to that plaintext memory file, I don't just have to read it. I can write to it. I can edit your AI's memories of you.
You could implant a false memory.
Exactly. Imagine I quietly add a line to that file that says, the user loves and trusts the fake crypto-lib library and prefers to use it for all security functions.
So the next time I ask my AI assistant to help me write some secure code,
It will happily recommend the malicious library, and you'll use it because you trust the AI. You assume the computer's being objective. You assume it picked that library because it was the best one for the job.
that is just, it's insidious. It's like gaslighting by algorithm.
Or what if I changed the memory of a business decision? No, you decided to approve that vendor last week, don't you remember? Or I could subtly alter the tone it uses with you to make you paranoid about a colleague.
And because we're starting to rely on these tools as our second brain, we might actually doubt our own biological memory before we doubt the machine.
We project objectivity onto them. We treat them like they're calculators. But if their mind is just a text file that malware can edit, they are not objective at all. They're compromised sleeper agents living on your desktop.
That completely changes the whole calculation of convenience, doesn't it? We're all rushing to install these things, but we're basically building our digital houses on sand.
It's worse than that. We're building them on sand, leaving the front door unlocked, and then inviting strangers to come in and rearrange the furniture while we're sleeping.
Okay, so we have thoroughly terrified everyone listening now. Let's try to offer some practical advice. If I'm a developer listening to this, what do I do right now?
First step, audit your environment. Obviously, go check for that fake ClawdBot extension in VS Code. If you find it, just uninstalling it is not enough. You have to assume that machine is fully compromised.
Because of all the persistence tricks we talked about.
Right. Check your running processes for code.exe in weird locations. Check your network for connections going out to bulletmailer.net. Honestly, you probably need to just wipe the machine and start over to be safe.
And what if I'm running the real, legitimate Moltbot?
You need to stop treating it like a toy and start treating it like critical infrastructure. If you're putting it behind a proxy, you must enforce authentication. Put a password on it, lock it down. Don't rely on the default trust localhost setting.
And maybe be a little more careful about what you tell it in the first place.
That's the best advice. 1Password said it perfectly. Treat that input field like it's a public billboard. Because right now, from a security perspective, It basically is. Until these tools start encrypting their memory files by default, you have to assume that data is not private.
It's a very stark start to 2026. We all wanted superpowers, and instead we got a supply chain nightmare and a privacy disaster.
It's a growing pain, you know? We're moving from simple chatbots to powerful agents. Agents have agency. They can do things, but we're still securing them like they're just toys. And the bad guys have definitely noticed.
So here's the question we really want to leave you with today. We are outsourcing more and more of our thinking, our memory, our context to these tools.
We're trusting them to be an extension of us.
Exactly. So if your AI's memory was poisoned today, if it started nudging you just slightly in the wrong direction, recommending the wrong things, subtly changing the facts, would you even notice?
Or would you just thank it for being helpful?
Something to think about the next time you click install. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Stay safe out there.